Hi everyone, back again. This is Samantha Brooks from Everglow Aesthetics. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about waxing. So just a quick disclaimer, these are my opinions based on the 20 years that I've been practicing aesthetics, mixed in with aesthetics facts. Other estheticians may do things completely different from me and may completely disagree with what I say, and that's okay. I've been doing this for about 20 years and I get asked a lot of questions in those years about waxing, so I wanted to create a video to answer some of those questions, as well as kind of to talk about my technique with waxing, my waxes that I use, and things like that. So first of all, first question, does it hurt? Short answer is yes. It is not a fun experience, and of course when you think about it, you're ripping hair out of the follicle, so it's not going to feel great. But I will say, to ease your mind about it, a lot of people kind of tend to build it more up in their head of it being much worse than it really is. And a lot of times when I get people that come in, we do that first strip and they're like, oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. So technique is everything, but we'll get into that later. To start, there are some things if you're a first timer that you can do. There's a product called No Scream Cream, and you can find it on Amazon. Before you come in, you want to put it on about 15 to 20 minutes beforehand, and it helps to numb the area so it's not as painful. And typically after about the first 2 waxes, your hair starts to come in a lot thinner, more sparse. So from then on, it's not as painful, and I have some clients that will just use it the first 2 waxings, and then after that they're fine. I have some that still continue to use it that love it, so really it just depends on you. There's also aftercare. I always recommend getting a product like TenSkin. That's really good for aftercare to help with preventing ingrowns, because when you're waxing, your hair is going from thicker to thinner, so it's very important to exfoliate. Otherwise, when those thinner hairs come up to the surface, it's harder for them to get out, so you'll get an ingrown that way. So when you do the TenSkin, and I would say probably not do it daily because you don't want it to dry your skin out. I would say probably a couple times, 2 or 3 times a week, like you would exfoliate, and just put those on the areas, and that will help to prevent ingrowns. Just know that with waxing, it does get easier over time and your hair does get thinner, which is nice. Okay, my second question that I have that I get asked all the time is, how long does your hair have to be? So I typically tell my clients for a first time wax, I would grow your hair at least about 3 weeks, preferably 4, because your hair grows in several stages. So you want to make sure that all of those stages come out so we get everything at once, and then from then on, wax anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. And now that depends on how fast your hair grows. I have some 3-weekers, I have some 4-weekers, I have some people that can push it out 5+ weeks over time. It just depends. But you definitely want to have about 3 to 4 weeks of growth. Bare minimum, you want 1/4 of an inch or the size of a grain of rice to be able to wax. But the reason why I say 3 to 4 weeks is so you get all those cycles and you don't have a situation where you come in and it's only been a couple of weeks and you wax, and then you have a whole nother stage that still has to come through. You want to try to get all those cycles together. Now I've worked with a lot of Estes, and I've trained a lot of Estes on waxing, on my technique. So a big part of that is you want to have a really good quality wax. And that's because, you know, for the client, and I myself am a client because I wax myself as well, the wax that I use, I love. It's a high-end wax. It's not cheap, but it's very worth it for myself and my clients because I want to give the best possible service that I can. I've been really happy with it. It's a vasodilator, so it's not as irritating on the skin. It doesn't adhere to the skin, does not lift the skin. Most of my clients prefer it because it's able to get all of the coarse hair as well as all of the fine hair. Hard wax is a great wax. In my experience, it works wonders on people that have extremely coarse hair. So for my Brazilians, first timers, it works great on getting a lot of thick hair, but not as great as picking up all the little fine hairs. Now there's some hybrid waxes now, which I also have, which is a cream wax, which kind of has the properties of the hard wax, so it's great for those sensitive skin clients. Also gets out all the coarse hair, but then it also mimics a soft wax as well, which gets all the little fine hairs. So I do have some clients that I like to use the zinc wax on that prefer that realm. So there are different avenues that you can do, and I employ all 3 different waxes. And I will say, I've heard some myths over the years of people saying that soft wax can adhere to the skin and lift the skin. Now, that's absolutely not the case in the 20 years that I've been working with soft wax. If you have the right wax, and it's a good wax, and it's a proper wax warmer on the proper setting, then you will have the right result. And I like to use all 3 of them because I have different clients with different needs. So it's good to have variety and something that works with everybody. The next question that I get asked is typically how long does a waxing session take place? How long of a blockout time? With waxing, usually with Brazilians, if it's a new client, I typically give myself about 30 minutes. The longest blockout times are usually about 45 in some places because I've been doing this for so long. For new clients, I usually typically block out about 30 minutes. And that gives us time to kind of talk a little bit beforehand and kind of walk them through it. My clients that are more established that come every month, usually it's 15 minutes, sometimes even 10. And we just kind of zip through it and go. It's one of those waxes you don't want to take very long. Typically, waxing should be a faster service, and I do employ some speed waxing techniques in as well. Never ever do you want to go into a place that double dips. I definitely encourage any new clients, I have you fill out an intake form first so that we can gather all the information to make sure that you're getting the safest wax possible. So you definitely want to disclose anything that you're taking over the counter or not. The only time I've seen anyone lift from a waxing is when somebody has either inexperience, they're using the wrong wax, the wrong setting, or they burn someone, or if a client has failed to disclose a medication that they're taking or a topical vitamin A, and then that person has their skin lifted because of that. And the lifting would happen regardless of the wax: hard wax, soft wax, cream wax, any wax. And in those cases, if someone has medications that they're on or they're lifting, those people would need to be tweezed at that point. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Again, this is Samantha Brooks from Everglow Aesthetics. I'll see you next time.